Okay, tonight's story is Little Yellow Riding Hood. We're going to read this whole story. I hope it's a lot of fun. Hello, sweetie Charlotte, darling honey. Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood. Just a little bit out of focus there. We'll focus it up. Let's see. What's she doing? She's jumping in the puddle. That's not very good, is it? Once upon a time, on the edge of the big wood, there lived a little girl called Little Red Riding Hood. Her real name was Brenda, but she was always known as Little Red Riding Hood because this was what her mother called her when she was a baby. Brenda used to wear a red bonnet when she went out for a ride in her pram, and she still wears it now. Can you see her wearing her little red hat as she splashes in the puddle? You know it's fun to splash in a puddle, right? One day, Little Red Riding Hood was playing out in the sunshine when her mother called her. Brenda, I want you to go over to Grandma's house with some groceries. Grandma's not very well, and she hasn't been able to get out to the shops. Oh, do I have to? Said Little Red Riding Hood with a glum face. Oh, you show me your glum face, okay? Glum means sad. Yes, you do, said Mum. Now go and wash your face. Mum packed the groceries into a basket, while Little Red Riding Hood did as she was told. When the basket was ready, Mum looked at Little Red Riding Hood very seriously. Now, I want you to be very sensible, she said. Go straight through the woods to Grandma's house. Don't mess about, stay on the path, and don't talk to any strangers. She kissed Little Red Riding Hood on the top of her head, handed her the basket of groceries, and pushed her out the door. Little Red Riding Hood scowled and stomped off down the path into the wood. Okay, you show me how you go stomp, 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 stomp. Show me your angry, scowly, upset face. Brrr. Little Red Riding Hood hadn't been walking far when she heard a rustling in the trees. Then she heard a deep, silky voice calling, little girl, can you spare a minute? Little Red Riding Hood was curious and strayed off the path to see where the voice was coming from. Oh no, she's not supposed to do that, is she? Isn't she supposed to stay on the path and go straight to Grandma's house? It seemed to come from the dark shadows behind the trees. There was a funny smell of old dogs, and for a moment she thought she saw a tall, woolly figure. She remembered what her mum had said, but the voice was quite friendly. What do you want? Said Little Red Riding Hood boldly. Where are you going, little girl? Said the voice. Oh, no, don't tell her, Little Red Riding Hood. Don't talk to the nasty voice. I'm going to Grandma's house. She's not well, and I'm taking her some groceries, said Little Red Riding Hood. How kind, said the voice. What a good girl you must be. And where does your poor grandma live? Little Red Riding Hood smiled angelically and replied in her sweetest voice, She lives at the far side of the wood, next to the pond. Can you show me your good girl smile, please, Charlotte? I want to see it. Show me the good girl smile. What a pleasant place to live, said the soft voice. But you mustn't keep the old lady waiting. Off you go, dear. Little Red Riding Hood waved and continued on to Grandma's house. When Little Red Riding Hood was out of sight, the tall, woolly figure stepped out of the shadows and smiled a big, sharp-toothed smile. Who's that? Why is he smiling? The silky voice belonged to a wolf. He was hungry and wanted to eat Little Red Riding Hood. But he was also clever. He was too near the little girl's house, and her mother might hear her scream. If he took the shortcut through the trees, he thought, he could arrive at Grandma's house before Little Red Riding Hood, and then he could eat the tasty little girl and her fat old grandmother. Licking his lips, he raced off into the dark woods. Oh no! The wolf was to eat Little Red Riding Hood and Grandmama. Man, that's not very good. When the wolf reached Grandma's house, he sneaked around the back and peeked in through the kitchen window. Grandma was making a pot of tea. The wolf lifted the latch silently and tiptoed very, very quietly in when Grandma's back was turned. Then, before Grandma could shout, "Tea bag!" the greedy wolf swallowed her whole. Yum, 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 he said. Then he hurried to Grandma's bedroom and searched her drawers until he found a big pink nightgown and a frilly nightcap. Quickly the wolf dressed himself in Grandma's clothes and leapt into bed just as he heard Little Red Riding Hood approaching the house. Why is he dressing up in Grandma's clothes for? I wonder why. Shall we read the story and see? "Grandma, where are you?" shouted Little Red Riding Hood. "I'm in bed, child," called the wolf in his best old lady voice. "Come right in, the door's not locked." Can you show me an old lady voice, please, Charlotte? I want to hear it. Old lady voice now. Little Red Riding Hood opened the back door and stepped into the kitchen. There was a funny smell, which was different from Grandma's smell, and the teapot lay broken on the floor. "Grandma, are you all right?" called Little Red Riding Hood. "Yes, dear, I'm not feeling myself today, so I decided to go back to bed. Do come in and see me." It was dark in Grandma's room because the curtains were drawn. Little Red Riding Hood, still holding the basket of groceries, stood beside the bed. How strange, she thought. There was that funny smell of old dogs again. She looked at the figure under the great heap of bedclothes and frowned. "Grandma, are you sure you're all right?" said Little Red Riding Hood. "Of course, my child. I'm just a bit under the weather," said the wolf. "Oh, I don't think Grandma's all right. I think it's the wolf pretending, don't you?" Little Red Riding Hood thought Grandma's voice sounded strange, but she did have a bad cold. Then she noticed Grandma's ears. "Grandma, what big ears you have!" "Oh, the best to hear you with, my dear," said the wolf. Then Little Red Riding Hood noticed Grandma's gleaming eyes. "Grandma, what big eyes you have!" "Oh, the better to see you with, my dear," said the wolf. Then Little Red Riding Hood's eyes became accustomed to the dim light. She noticed Grandma's pointed nose and shining teeth. "Grandma, what big teeth you have!" And the wolf leapt up and growled, "Roar! Oh, the better to eat you with, my dear." "Wow, is that a scary wolf? Blah!" The wolf's jaws were all around her, but, quick as a flash, Little Red Riding Hood swung the shopping basket and hit the wolf squarely on the nose. He yelled, "Ah!" and fell back. At that moment, the door burst open, and there stood Mum with Grandma's frying pan in her hand. She lifted it high above her head, and then brought it down with a clang on the wicked wolf's head. He did not move again. Kabonk! Mummy hit the wolf on the head with the pan. Clonk! Little Red Riding Hood ran to her mother, who hugged her tight. "Mum, why are you here?" she said. "I had a funny feeling in my bones," said Mum, "so I decided to come and see how Grandma was for myself. Where is she?" There was a muffled cry from where the wolf was lying. Something was moving in the wolf's tummy. What do you think could be moving inside the wolf's tummy? "Quick, Little Red Riding Hood, get the scissors," said Mum. With a snip, 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 Mum cut open the wolf's tummy, and out spilled an angry grandma. She was shaken, but luckily not harmed in any way. I'm going to teach that wolf a lesson, said Grandma. Fetch me my sewing basket, Little Red Riding Hood. Grandma worked quickly. From under the kitchen sink, she pulled a sack of onions. She stuffed them all into the wolf's tummy. Then, with the best embroidery stitches, sewed up the woolly beast's belly. Then Grandma and Little Red Riding Hood together rolled the sleeping dog across the floor and out of the door. Grandma slammed the door shut. Put the kettle on, Little Red Riding Hood. What we need now is a cup of tea, said Grandma, who was feeling much better. When the wolf woke up, he felt terrible. His head hurt, and his tummy felt as though it was on fire. Oh, he said to himself, I'll never eat another grandma again. He never did, and he never talked to strange girls again either. Oh, wow. Do you think the wolf deserved that? The onions will hurt inside his tummy. He's a bad wolf. Does he look happy, do you think? Can you show me what face you show when you have an upset tummy? That's not very good, is it? The end.